Here we are. Check, check, check. Checkity check. Oh, might help if I turn my speakers on. Check, check, check. All right, it works. Good morning, everybody. I am going live to work on some stuff. Let's see. Me cam. It's the me cam. Hey, what's up, Toom? Thank you for letting me know. I'm just going to check all the... Charlie, jump on the live stream. I'll talk about it now. Talk about it on live. It says, what is the plan to send this? Well, first we gotta finish it, brother. Yes, so let me go ahead and do the center and me. Okay, gonna share my screen here in a sec. Color source, PFP, window capture. What is this? Display capture. Do that, turn that on. There we go. There we go. Cool. All right, looks like I got some people in on X, and can't see the Pump Fun chat, but that is fine. Trying to restream across a few different things. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Only did a little tiny bit of live streaming the last couple of days. We had the Hood Wars custom theme release, which was very time consuming that day, and I've been having a little bit of a trouble with some migraines, but we back, baby. And I realized because I've been staring at my screen and like being locked in, so that created a lot of like neck tension stuff. But you don't want to know about all that. What you want to know about is the release plan. What are we going to do to launch this thing? So good question. Have had a lot done. Kind of taking a look at all the things that I've done. There's a lot that didn't make onto the list because I have late night coding sessions where I just kind of like do a lot of stuff and fix bugs and things like that. So, this coffee is delicious. So yeah, what are we going to do to get this live? So I'm going to create a new task list right now. Right now, I'm using Trello to sort of manage tasks, and I have a lot of stuff in the backlog. And a lot of stuff up next, which are like things I want to work on soon. And this list has gotten really big, like as I get very ambitious, and then stuff I want to work on today, and then things I'm working on, and then I put stuff over into shipped. So I'm going to add another list, which is release. Things that have to get done for release. Now, there are different ways to manage this. Oops, let's see if I can just drag that over. There we go. Yeah. So what do I need to do for release? I actually should tag some items for release. That way I can see them sort of separately and know when they're done. So some of these things are like bugs I need to do. So major features that I need for release are going to be, let's just start working through those. So I need to have character progression done. Let's see if I have a tag system here. Labels. Labels, create a new label. Let's do green will be released, okay? Release 1. Actually, that doesn't have an exciting enough. Launch day, there we go. That's much more exciting. So these are things that I'm gonna want to do. And let's see if we can just label these things so I can keep track of them. character progression is an important one. So that is where it's not just all about streamers and like that. I know that it seemed like that's been a focus, but really, the player is the focus because there are hundreds of millions of potential, or billions if you want to, of potential players out there. So what we need to have people do is be able to customize their character, right? Set your name for different themes, because you might have one character that you use for a main theme. You might have another character that you use for the main, the Soul Wars theme or the Hood Wars theme, for example. But we don't want to have to create characters for all of the different themes. So we'll definitely start with everybody will get one, and then you can create other ones as you want to. So if you want to create different characters for different themes, then you can do that. Um, so basically, you have a whole bunch of tasks that I need to get done. Saving the character progression is definitely an important one. So let's label that. That is a launch day task. And let's see how it shows up. Okay, so these are all the green things. Yeah, that's good. Save game launches. All these different things are small things. But for release, let's just kind of take like broad strokes, okay? Need to make sure players can be saved. So these are like, what is the game leveled up? These are things like we have to have in order for the game to be considered launched. Okay, that's kind of how I'm feeling about this. Okay, so I'll put the release sort of like you would call these epics, which are collections of little tasks. Um, I'd like to have another view of those, but this will do for now. I need to have some instruction screens. Okay, and there are different things that go into that because not only is it instructions about like how to play like through the chat and stuff like that, but I really need to have this. And I'll just kind of make a little list of stuff here. Because this will run on a stream, but it'll also run 24 hours a day. It will run on my stream 24 hours a day for the Soul War stream, and also my personal account at times. So instruction screens. Um, so how to play. Yeah, we'll do a checklist, right? Checklist. How to play. And that's something that should go on and off the screen at different times if it's chat instructions or if it's connecting to the channel. So how to connect. Those are all different things we have to do there. We also want to have a so this is important for launch. Everything else will be just be stuff we work on. So we need to have this stuff right here. Instruction screens. I also want to have character spotlights. I think that those are important. Those aren't necessarily important for release, but it's important for player spotlights. It's important to spotlighting you, the players. So whether that's highlighting your achievements, highlighting your current level, highlighting something cool that happened in the last battle, that's an important thing I want to have in for release. This is a little it's cosmetic, but if it's a prime objective is to showcase the players and what they're doing, then that's certainly important. Good morning, Silver. How are you today? Okay. Um, I also have to do some data stuff. I have to do because right now we have two themes running and two sets of token holders that are players. Am I sharing this? Why does it look like I'm not? Sorry. No, that's fine. We're good. We Gucci. Um, okay, so there's a lot of data things. So when I launch a battle right now, um, I'm not sure like who launched it, like which signed in wallet, because of the way that the site works in right now is you can sign in with a wallet and you are granted entitlements. For as admin, I have you know all the entitlements, but we have entitlements like game access. Let me zoom in a bit here. Game access, the ability to launch a theme, the ability to create a theme. So those are called entitlements. I have granted entitlements to myself as admin and also um, to the guy who's ranked to top. We call him top. That's his tag. Who runs the Hood Wars channel? Okay. So we have entitlements, and I don't know who is launching which battle. So I have this, up on today. So really, we have essential data, and that's an important thing that I need for release, because this is things like who launched battles. Well, no, who launched the game, and so the battles currently don't have any IDs associated with them that I know of. Let's see, user battles. Yeah, there's a user ID and a battle timestamp, but there's no battle ID. That's not good. I need to have a battles table um, that will tell me who launched it, what the theme was, how many players were meant to be in there, any prize pool that's attached, etc. So battles table. So this is essential stuff. Prize pools and prize distributions. That's all a lot of small stuff. We'll put that as a checklist. Tables. So who launched and prize pools. I copied all this stuff. Battles table. And then prize distributions. That's important for me to be able to keep track of. Just if you're sending token to somebody, you want to keep track of it so you can tell them you got this stuff. Um, so token transactions. And that's also for shop. I believe that I already have the table in for shop transactions. I don't have it in this database actually. All right, so that'll be a separate thing. Is shop transactions, so essential data, token transactions. So this is stuff that's around a battle, central battle data. I do keep track of the player progression in terms of like the points you won, etc. But we don't. Are we accumulating points? No, we're not accumulating points yet in the users table. So that's essential data that we need to add for character progression. And I'll show you in a minute. I have a lot of stuff. I made a plan last night to kind of get all that stuff in. And there are a bunch of tables that need to get created today. But for release, want to make sure that players can be saved and leveled up. We're working on that today. This also is something we're working on to parts of this today. Player spotlights, that's cosmetic. We'll leave that as a stretch goal, which means I want to get it in. I want to try and get it in for release. But if I can't get it in for release, that's okay. So we'll talk about player progression in a minute. So instruction screens, player progression. I'll just change this to player progression. We also want to make sure that we have a shop, because if we don't have revenue streams, it's hard to pay for server bills. So shop active. So for this, the checklist is going to be transactions table, other entitlements. So this is anything you can buy. That's going to be shop items. Now, I actually already do have a lot of this type of data that I created already for the SoulSeed platform. So I'm going to be taking a lot of this data structure here, and using it, which is like transaction IDs, the wallets, the quantity, the cost, the USDC cost, the token symbol that was used, all that stuff. So I have a lot of code for that already, um, that I'll be borrowing. So it's going to be pretty fast. Shop items. We also need to do the UI screen. So I do have a UI screen. UI screen. Shop UI screen. I have one that I roughed in. Let me just take a quick look at it and see how big it is. Client, source, pages, Soul Warriors, shop. So let's find out what is calling this. I want to take a quick look and see how far along I got that. Here, it was here. Visit shop, theme creator. Oh, it's in the profile link right now. Okay. If I go here and go to the profile's not enabled. Profile. Oh, it is enabled locally. So let me run it locally. Okay, so if I go to the profile page, so this will go live today for testing, and that's where you can set up your wallets and link them together. Thought I already did this for my own account. Let me see which wallet I'm logged in as. Yeah, that looks correct. But okay, so down here, visit shop. Okay, it looks like I have I've changed the data for this already. Okay, so I have the shop screen. We can't see it because it's not hooked up right now. Awkward. And that's fine. So the shop UI screen needs to get done. And that'll basically show the items pegged to USD, where I can activate them, deactivate them, and people can buy them. So that will be, I need to define the items, shop items table. So in addition to actually having a working shop, we have to have something for you to buy. So the shop active and then add shop items. Let's make sure this is down for release. Add shop items. And for this, we know that we're going to want to have several different things here as well. So this is stuff that we want to have people to be able to buy. Add item. So to this, we want to have battlefields. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I want to have this for release. So that's where you can essentially own a battlefield. So you can earn additional XP from owning that battlefield as a contributor to the game. And also be able to upgrade that battlefield, collect stuff that gets dropped on it. Because if you own a land, if people come have a battle on your land, guess what? When the battle's over, you get, in the real life, you'll be like, okay, thanks for having a battle on my field here. I'm gonna go ahead and go look around for all the stuff that you guys left behind, and keep it. So that's an important thing to be able to do. So you need to be able to have battlefields, player customizations. So these are cosmetics that you'll be able to use as a player. Player customizations. What else do we want to have inside a shop? It would be neat for people to buy some extra potions if they want to do that. If they don't pick them up, they can buy some potions. And in sort of order, I know that people have asked in this way. They want to be able to customize their player. And for customized player, what are those customizations going to be? I want to have custom placards, so player customizations. A placard, I don't know why I'm fixated on that word, but basically, right now we have like a round player head, if you will. And the placard is like what goes on top what goes behind it. And an example of what something like that might look like is this. And I have to come up with a few of these. Elite frame. You'll know it when you see it, right? So there's a round thing where icon shows through, and you have kind of like this surround that surrounds it. So ours won't be as like hanging off the edge as wide, but we'll have several different versions of these to indicate your status somehow. So if you wanted to pick one out that was like silver but had like sawtooth on it with gems or whatever, so there'll be certain ones that you earn. There'll be certain ones that say, "Hey, this dude's currently acting as a boss or whatever," and you'll be larger with a placard. So we have to have this whole placard system in place. But you'll be able to buy some and use them as customizations the same way you can, I think, on Discord or something like that as well. So if I come up with a better word than placards, then I'll use it. But right now, that's what it is. Let's see. What else do we need to have? I'm gonna check my live real quick to make sure that okay, it's going good. So customizations, battlefields. Uh, oh, obvious one. We want people to be able to unlock the game. Meow, meow. That's how I communicate with my cat. I don't know what you're meowing about. Game unlock. You want to be able to spend Soul Wars token and be able to run the game. So to grant that entitlement to people, so we can get other streamers using this thing, whether they have tokens or not. Okay, so some of these things have related. Okay, we're just defining what they are. They have related tasks that we have to do. Like, we are choosing a random battlefield, but not showing who owns it. So I'm going to put, I think I already have here, intro screen for battlefield owner. Okay. So all of these things are necessary for some of them. So could have a shop, could have some shop items, and prize pools. Prize pools, very important to have for release. Prize pools. I suppose that's the right thing to call it. So for this, we want to be able to have players can, and we'll just make another checklist again. We want players to be able to creator can define prize pool. Okay. Over this needs more detail. Size and rate, I guess, is what you'd call it. So for prize pools, you want to be able to define, how big the prize pool is going to be. Like, so you've got to put some token into the prize wallet, essentially. So the prize wallet is an escrow wallet that we control from the server so that we can send stuff out. Pretty simple. And the way that that would work is that you would take a chunk of token that you own, whether it's Soul Wars token or Hood Wars token or Solana, whatever it is, or SWE even, and drop that into a prize pool and then define like how much does it go out? Does it go out a certain percent every battle? Does it go a certain amount every battle? So you'll sort of set that up and then have a screen where you can monitor it. As a stretch goal, I will want other people to be able to add to a prize pool. Some people want to be able to do that. Say, I wanted to do that yesterday. On Hood Wars, he wants to be able to, obviously give people a Hood Wars token when they win battles, or when they're using his theme. And I said, I have some Hood Wars token. I want to donate 5 million for the prize pool. In order for me to be able to do that, I need to be able to like drag it, drop somewhere, have a transaction created, all that kind of stuff. And that means all of the transactions around that as well. So escrow table, because I need to be able to keep track of who put in what and how it came out. Yeah. escrow table and transactions. Now, right now, I support Sui Wallet and Solana Wallet. So Phantom can do both, and I think that we'll just be able to use that integration for now, and that will support a lot of the stuff that we need. Okay, so prize pools very important for release. Um, there's other things I really want for release. For example, most of the time when I run the game, it's in a rectangular format. Um, so I want to have a day of polish where I clean up the user interface. Oh, geez, you player progression, um, which means join screen. Join screen needs to work. And that is where you will come to the main website and there'll be a match code at the top of the screen and you'll be able to select to type in um, the name of the match, excuse me, the match join code and come into it because right now you can do some things from chat and that's fun, right? That can be a lot of fun. But if you want to be able to have more control over your dude, over your on-screen player at the time, having a having a site where you can do that is important because right now only the Pump Fun chat is being hooked into and it flies pretty quick. You're rate limited, etc. With the join screen, you'll have a little set of controls where you can control your guy. So as you're watching, and it doesn't work well if you're on mobile, plain and simple, or if you're typing on mobile. But if you have your mobile phone handy and you have a second monitor screen or a second window where you can watch, you'll have different buttons you can push to do different things. So you'll have more atomic control, um, the same things you're doing right now, and you'll have more feedback of like, okay, that's timed out, you can't do that yet, all that kind of stuff. So again, we want to be able to have people do it from any site. Like right now, I'm streaming this myself on YouTube. All of these other streams that we've been streaming since YouTube Live was available for me. We have like 12 hours yesterday, 5 hours, 3 hours. So people haven't been able to join in. They just see join in the chat, but they can't really. They can only do that from the Pump Fun chat. People aren't necessarily all going to come from the Pump Fun chat. So when they go to the website, they'll then understand, aha, if I want to have customizations or whatever, I could go use my Phantom wallet. What's that? Crypto. What's that? Let me get this token or purchase some of the USDC through Stripe and customize things, own battlefields, own bosses, all that kind of stuff. But for now, we want a simple join screen. And if I have to launch without it, I will. Um, but I'd prefer not to. I'm going to put that as a stretch goal. So the checklist for this is going to be join screen. The checklist for this is going to be match codes. And I think the way that match codes are going to work is that every time you launch the game, you get a match code, or each creator, like I would consider myself a creator, top perform Hood Wars as a creator, he would have his own join code. So the first thing is that would make it very easy. And that's like, I used to do this in cinema. Each individual cinema screen in the US where I ran my software had its own join code. So I knew people enter that join code, they were sitting in a theater seat in that auditorium, etc. But if it's the same join code all the time, you'll have the people who are writing bots to go into chat to do blah, 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 blah. So I think what I'm going to start with is let people choose their join codes and claim a join code without having to sign them random. But I do have a random match code system already done where it gives you a little 6 character join code like for HA, like you would in uh what was that game where aliens run around on a spaceship? I can't remember. I can't remember. It was so popular during COVID. You guys will know it in a second. It's where everybody was sus. Um, game. join sus alien spaceship. Among Us. Thank you. Geesh. Among Us. They had join codes for that. Everybody understands how to use that. So in order for people to join, we want a simple mobile site. So the button UI, and I've done this before again for the cinema and for some other things too. And it's very kind of innovative, easy to use. You press one. If there are more options under that one, you see them, and you can drill down or go back, 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 and then pick an option. So it's basically being able to type some stuff, to hit the buttons and type stuff in. Not type something, hit the buttons to do different things. And some of the modes we want to have are going to be for people to test that out. Like when you join screen, on the join screen, I want you to, right now you can do this on the join screen, where you see your little guy there is you can do some emojis, but you have to type in emoji. I want you to be able to just hit the button like you would in Fortnite or whatever. You're doing your emoji and something's happening on the screen. You're having fun while you're waiting. Um, um, yeah, so actually, and the match codes, let's save that. What else did the simple buttons? Um, that might be it for the join screen. That's the bare minimum for release. Okay. So prize pool, shop at player spotlights. I'm going to put that as a stretch goal as well. One of the themes that we have already, and I'll show you, called Hood Wars, already has a bunch of stuff ready for player spotlight. So when a game is launching and we're kind of waiting and stuff like that, let me go to Hood Wars theme. They have player spotlights for the players. I'm not even showing them yet, but they are really cool full screens. Let's see if I can find some here. They're nice themes that he's created. Players, yeah, like this for the actual player characters that come up. So this would come up along with his abilities on one side, certain taunts that he has, all that kind of stuff. So you want to be able to see that stuff. Get out of here, Photoshop. And he's put the work in to create all these, so we want to be able to show them. And he's got a ton of them, actually a ton of them. So that's content that he's created we're not even seeing yet. And I also have all these players. There's a lot more to add to the game. All these players need to get added to Hood Wars. So that's finishing out the Hood Wars theme. I think I gave him access to this, which reminds me. So that's another important thing. And I'll put it on today's roadmap so he can get to work on that. Entitlement, theme-specific entitlements. Specific entitlement so that he can edit his own theme, because right now only I can do it. Not much fun. Okay. So for release, I'm thinking we're looking at this. You need to be able to, your players need to be able to level up so that when you're off living your life and your dude's fighting in battles, he's progressing, gaining XP or whatever. You need to be able to log into the site, see what he did, and like pat him on the head, right? Spend his points to assign him to stats, and then if you're controlling him, yourself, you'll be able to use any special abilities he has or use his items in the middle of a battle, all that kind of stuff. So that's when we have the shop items that come in handy. Player spotlights, again, this is a stretch goal. We'll move it down. Prize pools are important for just giving out token. So I actually want to do that soon. I guess that's the other thing, is a loot system. Is the loot system important for a battle? Yeah. And I haven't defined how I want to do this yet. So let's do this. Loot system. So let's make that important for release, but it's a stretch. So players can pick up. Players can wander over stuff and pick it up. Plain and simple. I already have pickup sounds created. And when you pick up food, that already happens. But you can't pick up like coins, like token that's been dropped on the ground, right? And we don't even drop stuff on the ground. So players should drop stuff. Mobs. Oh, that's another thing we need to have for release. Should drop stuff. Mobs are players that aren't controlled and aren't owned. Um, so you should be able to see stuff, and you should also be able to see what you picked up. So history of pickups, so that you can see battle picked up, whatever, and you can be like, oh, what's that? I picked up a cool sword, or I picked up 3 potions. Cool, that's stuff I didn't have to buy. Later on, you'll be able to sell it as an NFTs or whatever. Right now, there won't be NFTs; they'll just be stuff in my database. Um, okay, so creators should be able to launch their own games, which they can do. So that's one of the entitlements. So that's covered. So if we be able to launch, that's that. Um, oh, are the documents? Yeah. So I would say, and also important for a launch, and this the list is getting pretty pretty full now. Okay. All right. The list is getting pretty full now. So now let's talk about timing. I mean, one of the other things I want to do with the battlefields is they're coming in square right now. But there's black spaced around it, as you've seen. If you haven't seen, I'll show you. Let's go to one of the past streams here on YouTube. You can see right here. Let's load up this one. When the game starts, here we go. You get this black area around it. I really, really, really wanted to have the battlefields be wide. Okay. I mean, square was easier for the. I used AI to make a lot of the battlefields, all the battlefields, and manually edited some of them. But I like it if it just fills the screen, and then, like as the zone closes in, and there's a bunch of cosmetics, and that's I think that's probably the final roadmap item that I need to have before I launch is cosmetics. This is the fog. I think the fog little cloudy things, they're too big right now. I want them to be smaller. They work and you get it, but you can't clearly see the line. And I guess you can't in some games as well. You just know like I'm near the fog. There actually is. It's going to be very hard to see, but there actually is a very, very thin red line, which I mean I can see when I run the game. It doesn't show up in the stream, but it's like it's 1 pixel wide. That used to be the zone back in the day. Back in the old days. That was silly. Okay, so I would say clean up, polish. So there's a lot of stuff on a lot of screens that I'm not comfortable with. I need to resize it, recenter it. UI. Because I did a lot of this stuff fast. When I go to launch a game, for example, um, there's extra information here. None of the other modes except free for all. I mean, team versus team starting to work a bit. These other modes all need to be implemented still. I mean, this one I think does work. The team versus team could be at the battles, but I don't really like the way it works. So this is polish. I don't really need all these. Really, when I picked a theme, I would want the theme screen to change here. So that's polish UI. So I'm actually going to define these items. Checklist, launch screen. So when you pick a theme, if you don't have access to launch it, I want you to see like the things that are on it. So that's actually that's like the store, right? So you'll be able to pick the thing and be like, okay, I don't actually own that theme, but I want to see like what's in it, and then that will tell me if and maybe I can play some of the sounds from it or whatever. Um, but I'll do a simple version to begin with, and a larger version after. So launch screen, theme specific, launch screen. That's cleanup and themes specific. I'm just gonna make a list of stuff here. Add item. So load progress. This has changed a lot. The load progress. So basically, when I start a game now, and I'll show you, the Soul Wars theme has a ton of stuff in it. I also need to remove the game mode, so I'm just gonna get rid of this. Remove random. Disable unused game modes. Okay. When you launch a game, watch what happens. Free for all, Soul Army, good. Oh, you have to click this. Why do you have to click this? Like that's an extra thing you shouldn't have to do. Um, Maybe you're seeing stuff here, but when I launch the game, I actually don't want to pick the mode yet. I want to pick that inside the lobby. So this is that's the local version. Let me show you my version. This is my version, local version. Launch maps and choose game codes. Is it running? Make it run. Let's make it run. Make it rain, baby. Okay, go to game. See, I probably messed something up last night. I did. Last night I started to implement some of this code already for player progression. So it's actually not running well right now, but I shouldn't have a separate screen to connect things up. I should just be able to launch. And right now I have to do this, then this, then this. Really, what should happen is that somebody should just pick the theme. All this other stuff should move inside the game. So um, that's a whole separate task. Clean up, launch, flow, to make it very easy. So it's like, why did I have a separate button? Because originally you had to pick the game mode, okay, and you had to connect it to your chat. I want you to be able to not have to connect it to your chat. I want for you to be able to pick the chat based on your wallet. So my wallet is this. I have a certain pump fund stream. That's it. Like that's the token. So that will connect to that chat. Eventually, this will connect to other chats too. Hopefully, YouTube and wherever you have your stuff set up. But all that stuff should be tied to your wallet, to your user ID. Tie token CA chat to user and not make it general. It's been handy for me because one of the things I've been able to do is like if I sometimes I will run the for Top, he's been running on his laptop, which doesn't always work so great. I have a Shadow PC I pay for. I can only run one stream at a time from that, but it broadcasts to all the things. So it's easy for me to connect to his Pump Fun stream here, so it connects to the chat. I mean, that works really well. I could do that right now. Um, it'll go for anybody's chat. So now you'll see if I type in stuff, hi, there it is. It comes into my thing here, and these get interpreted as game commands. They get fed to the game. Uh, very useful to have this here, but not very useful if you have to copy and paste your stuff all the time. So I want to make that very, very easy to use. So actually, most of this stuff shouldn't be here. It should be inside the game. So I'll show you what I mean. If I click on launch, I wish I could show you my local version, but again, I'm in the middle of absolutely destroying it to do a whole bunch of other things. This needs to be full screen more, and when I make it full screen, it has this band on the bottom, which also shows up on the stream. Oops. I love my music, but you guys can't hear it. I'm going to turn it down. I have this whole thing over here where you can pick the battle, pick the armies, all that, and the match type, which is great. But you can't see it here. I basically need to move a bunch of stuff inside here, is what it is. So I'm gonna move this on a full screen and kind of go back here and refresh. So we don't have a way to stop the battles either. Clean up launch flow. So yeah, moving that stuff in there. Clean up polish UI is essential for release. Okay, that is what I have to do for release. This stuff I'll move to the bottom. Joint a loot system is neat because that gives people stuff. People like to get stuff. Okay, now taking a look at what's here, I can provide some time estimates on this stuff. Okay, I'll do in terms of days. Does it give me an easy way to provide time estimates? Dates. Well, let's just set dates. Due date. Reminders will be sent to all members. Yeah. So player progression. I actually would like to do this today. So let's say that it's, just do this, start date here. Don't have a due date for it, but here's when I expect to start it. Okay. Start date today. Essential data, that has to be today as well. Now, obviously, as I was going through this, you can hear that there are lots of things I want to be able to add that are roadmap items, which is here. I got to get a roadmap up. I've been promising Ava for days now that I would do it, and to everybody that I would do it. I've just kind of been in and doing stuff and trying to respond to what I see is going on in the community and other things as well, and in my own objectives for being able to show this to some potential investors, etc. So instruction screens, we want to be able to have those up. I think that I'll be able to start those tomorrow. Checklist, we're going to start tomorrow. And those are screens that, again, that will show up how to play, how to connect. Shop active. Then we'll quickly pivot to a shop. By the way, player's progression has got a lot of stuff in it. So shop active, instruction screens, we're actually going to start that on the 16th as well. I've done shops before several times. I did a World of Warcraft shop, hooked to Web3 with NFTs. So this is kind of like a known good, but it does mean this part here, I'll be able to start that here. I'll be able to start on the following day. Dates. That'll be the Friday. I'll be able to start it here. And that's where I grab in the different, Friday I said. Add the items, add the artwork. I have a lot of these already and kind of hook them up and test it. Prize pools, we'll definitely get to those. We'll start this weekend on prize pools, if not Friday. But we'll set it for being to start on Saturday. Again, we've already tested sending out prize pools and transactions, so I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get to that. That leaves Sunday for roadmaps and docs that I can start on that on Sunday. And that's where I add a bunch to the website. I have a bunch of stuff already. Oh, interesting. I'm going to switch this up a little bit. I need to start this instead on Sunday because I actually have to have this started beforehand because if I do screenshots, they're going to change, right? So roadmap and docs, those will start on probably Monday. Okay, and actually, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to leave this screen up while I while I well, I'll be right back. Let's just put it that way. All right, I am back, and I'm going to make my screen a little bit bigger here. Yay! That's me. Hooray! It's me. Also have to remember move it to this side. Okay. All right. Yeah, that way you can see a little bit better. That'd be nice. And I'm gonna quickly go, by the way, over to Pump on Site. Top said he's got things started, and I want to make sure his stream is running. So let me go check that out real quick. That's me. Go to Hood Wars. It's running. Okay, that's perfect. Perfect. Yes, sir. Yeah, now we're doing it. Okay. All right. Going down the list, and I've got to put my handy dandy. I got this magical little like half glove that I use for help relieve my hand will get very sore if you type as much as I do, coding and stuff like that. Okay, the loot system. Um, so this occurs to me that I'm probably going to end up having to do some updated screenshots. Okay, okay, that's there. That was there. If I have to update screenshots after, that's going to be ongoing. Then the loot system. So I can't wait for this. I might just sneak that in. Join screen from site player spotlights. Hmm. I might just put this ahead of this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put this ahead of this because giving people their their spotlight um, is a little bit more important than being able to do that. I don't think it's going to take too long anyway, to be honest. Because when I show a player spotlight, if it's just for a player type that you can normally use, um, that's one thing. If it's a player and their stats, that's just a little data pull, easy peasy for me to do that. I could probably write that in like probably 10 minutes, and then a screen for it would take another half hour or so. So yeah, it looks like we basically have what we need here. And then there's marketing stuff to do. I'm going to be kind of doing marketing stuff along with other people, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And that puts us, where does that put us? Let's look at the list again. That puts us early next week to feel like I'm ready to launch this thing where people can buy stuff. We've got prize pools. There, people are earning token and they're doing battles where we can really start to put the word out and say, "Come test this out," and talk to some other streamers to say, "Come test it out." I'm going to be starting to talk to the Sui community about it very soon. I need to integrate some things from Sui already, like there's an NFT that people can buy from the Soul Seed side, which is called Arcana Core, which is really, really cool. Let me show you that real quick. I made these and I love them so much. But these are Arcana Cores. If and they're meant to go across the entire like game economy of all different games that I create. And they're cool. They're just really, really cool. And I want people to be able to use them. So if you have one, it should give you different ability increases and things like that. So I just want to like hook that up. I already have it done where I can pull all that information. Let's see if I can get to it. Arcana. I don't yet. Okay. To be able to show them all, and they all have different stats and things like that. So I want to be able to integrate those. So that'll kind of like happen in the meantime. Um, some other things too. People are asking how I'm going to integrate Sui tokens and stuff so they can use it in their community. I already have it so that you can choose armies and battles. Let's try one out. Actually only works for my, again, it doesn't work for my local computer. That's right, because I broke everything. But I have these armies defined already, where I can you can't see what they look like, but I have armies defined for different NFT collections, and I had them in some battles here. Here's one. This was 28. This is kind of cool. Well, it's like one collection versus another collection, which is funny if they're rivals or whatever. So I already have some of this stuff kind of working, and that will come like after release. We'll have like the team versus team and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, adding polish to me also means I am really going to try and add a animated sprite to the player because like these are big, and you want to be able to see your guy on the screen for one. Do we always have to have massive battles? Could they be smaller? Yeah, I think that they should be. so that you can have more like individual control or whatever. I think that other times your soul warrior should definitely be in these massive battles, because they this part ends quick. I am going to increase people's health very soon so that the battles last a little bit longer, um, just a little bit longer. I think too long and it gets boring, but a little bit longer. But you want to be able to see like an individual match. The camera system is working pretty good. I fixed the zoom; it works a lot better than it did. It tries to keep everybody in. But for example, these guys are all overlapping each other. I can't see a darn thing. So I wanted to be able to have a player sprite that goes underneath the head. Um, Being able to put like a head on top of a generic body, or a body that we can skin is important because it adds a lot of pizzazz. And I know that I can do that inside the Phaser game engine with sprite sheets and animations, but I haven't tried those yet. I usually use Unity to do all my game development, which has full 3D stuff, etc. But it doesn't always work that well on the web, and it's also very expensive. The studio license I had, because I back in 2021 and 2022, we had 20 people on the team, and we had our own token called Play, which had like I think it was a 4 million or $8 million dollar market cap on the Rally Creator Network. So I had team licenses for Unity for everybody, and a big arcade full of games and stuff like that. But it was expensive, so I haven't been paying for that. It was like $1,500 a month for that license. Um, Kind of draconian, actually, to use that word. It's a good word. Okay, so that is basically the roadmap, and we're looking at the 20th to be able to be ready. If some of this stuff slips, it's possible, and then we go into the kind of stretch goals. So minimum 20th, I think we can set the Friday afterwards for like launch day. So let's lock that in. Um, so that will be the 24th. So launch day is the 24th. Um, October 24th, so 1 week before Halloween. And then maybe we can do a quick Halloween themed map with vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. There's a ton of different things that I have on the backlog, etc. But we'll keep this here and the release checklist, and then kind of move stuff into the up next to accomplish these things, if that makes sense. So roadmap screen, I'm going to pop back here. Today, we'll do this stuff. So character progression is way up on the list. Save game launches, battle ideas with themes, theme specific entitlements. I want Top to be able to edit his theme quickly, so I'll do that today as well. Character points, that's part of character progression. Choose number of combatants, we'll leave that for up there later. High stakes mode is up next. It's not necessary for release. I hate to put it in the backlog, but we'll put it in the backlog. And that's saying, hey, I have, 10, I got a million Soul Wars token. I want to be able to carry that around and use that as my, like, I'm willing to risk that. So that's your stakes. I'm willing to risk that, which means you can pick up a certain amount. Like maybe the first level of stakes is that you can pick up as much as you're willing to risk. Maybe the second level of stakes is that you can pick up twice as much, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, as sort of like upgrades. That way, if you're willing to wander into a battle, knowing that you're probably going to lose, last man standing and all that, what's it going to be? Obviously, one of the huge things we want to be able to do, if we can do this before release, it would be really cool. Is this, and we'll get it on there as a stretch goal, okay? Because right now we have a little bit of time. Yeah, we got a little bit of time for this, so let's add in the side bets. The fancy word for this is prediction markets. So we'll put that in as a stretch goal. This is for me, I can't wait to have this. This is going to be great to have this. But how long will this take? I don't have a date for it yet. The loot system will be pretty quick. So I think this one, if we were to do it on the 21st, let's do that. Probably could do that there. Probably. Uh, one problem with this, obviously, is that if any of these dates fall, all the rest behind are going to get, badgered pretty badly. So it's not like it would be smart for me to put dates on too many of these things, but we're just going to put it down just for the heck of it. So I could probably also do this on the 21st. Because I don't think this is more than 3 or 4 hours. Ideally, I put how many hours something is going to take. But this isn't really meant for that level of project management. Join screen, again, all of these are features that I consider essential, but yeah. Also, I got to remember on Tuesdays, I tend to have less time because of running around and things like that. Meetings that I have to go to in real life, like scout meetings and things like that. And side bets. This is actually a larger task. And if we were to start it there, and this one needs a little bit more testing as well. I think that takes a couple of days at least. Because how would it work? You see the end where you get to. We'll do the simple version first of like picking who you think will win, and then there'll be tokens attached to it. But you've got to be able to spend token. In order for you to be able to spend token, you will have had to do that on the website and send yourself some token. Or be able to manage that and how that works. Because obviously, if you pick up token in battles, you'll have some already like available. And then we'll have to have a claim system where you pick up your token and it gets transferred to your wallet. In the meantime, it will be in like an escrow wallet. So token escrow claim. That's where we'd be able to like remove anything that's yours from the token escrow wallet. But it makes it very easy for you to have stuff escrow send. For you to be able to have stuff in a wallet that you don't have to approve transactions for. That way you can do stuff in chat. Pretty simple. Say like bet one or whatever. And that would actually be, I could probably do that sooner if I did it simple like that. And then it would pick if you're correct or not. And then when we add the tokens in, you're there. So if you don't have enough to cover your bet, then it just wouldn't really be a real bet. It'd be like a paper bet, if you will. Anyway, it's something that's going to get made. I think this is good for stuff for me to work on today. It's still early in the day. I don't have too much to do outside of this today. Yeah, so okay, we're looking at October 24th, and then that'll cover it. That takes us right up there if we were able to get all these stretch items in. So let's go ahead and plug that into the Telegram. Yes, sir. And can I fit this all on one screen? No, I can't. But it's like our short-term roadmap. I'm comfortable with that. Why am I looking around? Here we go. Okay, if you notice, I haven't even started talking about referral codes and all that kind of stuff. That's important to get in. Let's just see if I've made a note of it. Yeah, Soul Wars up next. So it is in this list, the referral codes. There's a lot to do. Some of these things are duplicates. Oh, there's also token related stuff that JP was helping with, like being able to apply to CoinGecko, doing this, doing that. There's a whole laundry list of stuff. Multi-chain NFT import. I already did this. Let's take a look at stuff I've already done, just in case. Choose number of combatants. Not done. Not done. Not done. Points promotion. Here. Add weapon circle pop over. This is one that I wanted to be able to add so that when you're attacking, people get to see what you're attacking with. Pretty simple. Right now, they just see you. But if you have a weapon that you enabled, there's two different ways to do that. Every time you attack, so we could do a little pop-up of your icon of whatever it is you're using for a weapon. I could keep it on the screen at all times. And it would basically move to be between you and who you're attacking. That also means I need to increase attack distance again. Because right now the players are too close when they're attacking to each other. But that's something I wanted to show, which is important for like Hood Wars, for example. It's like it's not going to be all melee attacks right now. Right now, it's just melee attacks. You have to be right up on somebody in order to attack them. There is a whole other type of player system where it's like you are within range of your weapon and you're using a distance attack, a ranged attack, called missile attacks. Okay, so going through this up next thing, intro screen for Battlefield owners. I really want to do this, but I can't do it right now. I shouldn't worry about it right now. But when I get the okay, create Battlefield owners table. It's important for revenue though, right? Because if somebody knows that they can own a Battlefield, that's going to cause them to want to grab some token to get ready for that, which is important. Create placeholder screens. What even was this? This is where I was going to create a system, some screens before a match. Right, I have intermission screens, or during the match, whatever. I need a system to do that. That works very well. I want to have one or more screens that you can show before a match. And I call this placeholder. Instruction screens, prize pool screens. Again, we don't have prize pools. I'll need to do this when we do the actual prize pools, but I can pull that out later. Player positions, that's working on. We actually already have this, so I'm going to do that. Wallet Phantom login for site, yes, but it needs to be tested. Pause at remaining player milestones. I already have that done. That's the thing that says 5 left, 4 left, etc. Mark complete. Fix asset loads for food and sprite keys. I think it still needs to get done. These are bugs, kind of. Roadmap screens, publish roadmap. So that's not up next. That's coming a little further down here. Theme should use food data, not hard-coded. These are little bugs. Clean up spell effects. I don't have any of the spell effects done yet. I created a system for spells, but the particles are bad. Add random delay for attack. I still want to do this right now. It's a quick one. Basically, right now when you get into a battle, it adds a little bit of random delay, but oftentimes you'll hear the screen kind of like looks like it's surging. That's because most of the attacks are occurring at the same basic time. I need to space that out a little bit more so it doesn't look like people rowing a giant boat. Apply to CoinGecko. I'll do this, but I just can't do it now. I got to focus on getting the game out. I'll still mark it as important though. Or a token. Anything that's token related is certainly important. Red. Because these are things that people who want to buy the token will often look for. It will increase visibility, all that kind of stuff. Create fixed asset loads, add random delay online pitch contest for the audience. This is something that Ava is already working on. Add birds. I wanted to add birds. I added clouds. Boss monsters. Man, I can't wait to add boss monsters. I'm going to mark that as a cool item because that is something that'll really help with different PR and stuff like that. So the blue stuff I'll mark as they'll be really cool. That'll have a good visual effect. But sometimes when I'm trying to decide between should I do this now or should I do that now, it's like I'm a dev, I'm a builder. I often think about the kind of things that like I want to have, which is like infrastructure and databases and boring. But really, the cool stuff that people want to see that will cause them to look, stick around, like look deeper, or whatever, are things like they fight a giant boss monster, and have like a high risk, high reward situation. It's like that's cool stuff. Um, this is cool stuff here. That's stuff that increases visibility of the project, and you have to think about that as you're building because we're building in public, right? And we're not getting to the point where we're just launching the game. It's like, hey, here it is, it's launched. It's like we're going live, we're talking about stuff, so you have to have these cool things for people to look at. Fixed asset loading. That's not none of that stuff is exciting. um, Fixed screen resizing. That's just some of these are bugs. I should probably label that as a bug. Token shouldn't be purple. It should be. This is a bug. It should be bug. Fixed screen sizing. That is a bug, and I'm going to change token to, I guess, orange. The token-based stuff will be orange. Yeah. So bugs, I got to kind of mix things up between do I fix some bugs today? Do I do some token work today? All that kind of stuff. Yeah, that helps me decide. Character points, increase attack distance. I consider that a bug. Okay, fix asset loads. It's a bug but not important. Random delay for attack. Center arena with sponsorship. This is going to be cool and also important for revenue. I should probably have a revenue item too. I'm going to add one. Let's pick the color of money. So these are things that would contribute to revenue. I mean, everything really contributes to revenue, right? But it's more specifically enable us to capture revenue. Referral codes, that's for you guys. Also important for everything. So how can I do this quickly? I could get your referral codes of your profile screen. So referral codes would be checklist. So create referral codes and show on profile screen, and then pull from URL or attribution, and then include in sign up, include in purchase. Okay, so these are the 4 things that would go into a referral system, and I've used referral systems before quite a bit. They're great for growth as long as they don't get abused. But basically, we create a referral code system where you as a user have one. You can get to it easily. Maybe you pick it yourself. Okay, a promo code. But you should need to be able to see it, so you can add it to stuff. So that when you share a link, anything that you share will have your referral code in it, or something like that. Sometimes people will like pull that stuff off of a URL. Like, okay, I'm not going to put your referral code in there. It's like that's mean, but people do it. So maybe we'll do something simple where when you do share, you'll get a specific URL, and then I'll know it's you. Like I'll look into a database. So let's do referral obfuscation. So you'll have two different types. There's one where you just October 22nd. Yes, good. There's one where you have your referral code, and there's one where you basically have a link that your referral code is not in it, but that link will take somebody to a specific destination page, and I'll know that that was you who did that. And when that happens, we need to be able to pull in. So when they come in and be like, okay, this is the person who referred them. If it's a new user sign up, this was who referred them. So when they do stuff, whatever, if there's revenue share to be made there, always use the attribution code when possible. So we would include that in any signups for user signups or in any purchases. So on the referral table, we would do that there as well. So that's an important system. That's going to be good. We're not going to be able to do it for release date. I don't think there's time, but it's one of those things where I could get it in. So I'm just going to mark it down as such and move it to, I'm going to move it to here because I'm focusing on release. Okay, we got to focus on release. Prize token support, that's going to show up here in prize pools, which is what token is going to get used for the prize pool, plain and simple. Is it one token? Is it multiple token? All that kind of stuff. I already have support for Solana. I didn't build in support for Soul Wars. It's like a one-line change I need to make, but we've got to have that in. So I'm just going to clean it, put it here. It's going to be part of the prize pool system, but you know, it's a little atomic thing. Add visual indicators for power of opponents. I'll keep that in up next because I don't really know how we're going to do that yet. We can talk about it on stream also, but this is where we will, you'll be able to look and see, oh man, he's powerful. You know, do we use colors? Name colors, placards, icons. Those are all things we can do. Excuse me. Icons over the name. Right now we have shield icon that will show up for holders. I don't know if I'm going to end up keeping that. Or if we're going to use that in a different way. Like you've got a spell on you. Like that kind of thing. Custom channel names. This is where you sign up in your profile. And that is, that's a user profile situation. User profile info. We can keep that here. Or random. So it'll give you a random. It's basically where you can set your channel name. And that's the thing that people would join with. So when we get to join code, like that's there. So I'm going to pop it over here because it's not going to be like this week. Roadmap on the site. So we'll see. We'll get to that here. Oh my goodness. Word-based AI for attacks and powers. This is something that will take like an hour. And what a reason why it exists is this. Let me show you. In the theme creator, if I go to the Hood Wars theme and scroll down for the players, they all have stuff like this. These are the player names. He has a whole bunch of documents. I have to add the information in here, but he wrote up all these different descriptions and special abilities, and they're funny named abilities. And so I've started to write some down, but these need to like become equal to game mechanics. So we need to have. Oh my gosh, so tired. I'm not tired. I'm just yawning. All right, good night's sleep. We need to translate these fun words into kinds of attacks. Is it a melee attack, which is up close? Is it a ranged attack? And like how powerful is it? So we need to have a little system which takes all these things and decides like what kind of attack it is. And this is like just an idea that I had. Like it would be cool to write an AI that helped me write an AI, if that makes sense, so it can figure this stuff out. And like let's see, for example, if I was to go to Grok, this is Super Grok. Auto. Let's do auto. These are attack abilities. Actually, I'm not even going to say attack abilities. These are abilities for Soul Wars. I'm going to assume it knows what Soul Wars is. What could they relate to in terms of game mechanics? Okay, it doesn't know what Soul Wars is. Grok, you've worked with me so much. But anyway, yeah. It would probably be smarter for me to ask the code. But basically, it's out. This goes to show you that I need a little bit more work into doing this. So to find the abilities and stats, what I would do is give it a list of all the different player stats and the things that a player can normally do, like attack or defend or go look for loot or affect another player's ability, that kind of stuff. And then come up with like what the thing does. So yeah, it's a stretch. It's cool. Why is it cool? It'd be fun to talk about. That's why. It'd be fun to make a little video or an article about it because that's different, and people don't have something like that. But I mean, we got a lot of cool ideas. Not all of them are going to make it in and make it in right away. Adjust the initial camera zoom based on margin, so it's not too zoomed to start. So I did fix this one. Actually, I'm just going to put it under shift, but I'm going to create a new one. Rectangular battlefields. All my battlefields are square, and they're pretty big. I really want this done, so I'm going to label it with stretch. I'd love to have it available for launch day 2, but I don't know if I will. So I'm going to actually put it in the backlog somewhere up there. I can prioritize these things as well. Tear down chat server relay when page exits. So this is a bug. Otherwise it stays on. It's actually an important bug. When page exits. So I need to understand. Oh, excuse me. Understand when page exits. Okay. So if a creator exits the game page, or we lose heartbeat with the game page, stop listening to chats. Resources are finite. Right now, when I go to a game, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. And hook up to a chat and connect to a chat here, it starts listening. Connect. It'll listen. I don't want it to always be listening because we could have hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of these listeners running, which is not good for my server resources, right? Especially people can spam chats quite a bit. I can actually see a scenario where I have to have a separate chat relay server up for a very popular streamer. Because what would happen if somebody had 40,000 people watching their stream? If we had a moment of success like that, what would happen? That's a scary thought. Actually, talking through that for a second, I know we've been kind of going at it for a while and haven't gotten to player progression, but roadmap's important. Planning is important. If somebody did come and had like 10,000 people, first of all, they're not going to be all on the screen at one time. I think I've tested it with 5,000 people at once. It worked pretty good. I'll test it again soon to see how well it does, but that many people could be in the chat and they could all hit join. So first of all, what I'd have to do is have the chat server probably separate is what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to have the chat server listening and it be a separate thing. I really don't have the budget to start creating separate relay servers yet, but let's add it to the roadmap because that's going to be pretty important. Because what the chat server will need to do is limit the number of players it should know, like max players, because it will communicate with the game server and be able to communicate what's important to the game server. And now that is something that we can control because I could have instance-based chat servers. So there's a bunch of them pointing at different chats that are out there for different streamers. You might have a YouTube one, a Twitch one, a Facebook Live one, a Pump Fun one, who knows? And it's processing all those incoming messages. So it's built to just do one thing quickly, which is to take a lot of traffic in. That we can do. I don't want to have it on the same server as the database, as the game server, all that kind of stuff. Because when we break it off like that, it could scale well. So when you're making a server or game infrastructure, you want to be able to separate things out into, services or microservices so that you can scale those differently. I might have 100 copies of a chat relay that all, they filter things down, they put a gate up, and they communicate with a much smaller number of game servers. Like that's a viable infrastructure that I can afford. I might end up costing 15 or 20,000 a month with all the different servers I have to have, but it's better than having to stand up a giant server, and it can only handle, so many connections, and then everything crashes. No, it's okay for the chat server to crash if the game stays running. And if I have all of the streamers on one game server and one streamer crashes everybody's thing, obviously not too cool. Got to think about that because you never know if it's going to go big. So let's actually mark this down as important. Let's do this one here. I'm going to use a black label. Can I use a black label? Select a color. No. I'll do scale. Scale. Purple is scale. That's not a scale. That's a scale. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's add a card in for that now. Break chat relay into its own service. Nice atomic task to do. Important. Definitely important. So I'm going to put it here and move up. I can do this too. Like this isn't something I have to really wonder about, but it's going to be important for us to grow. Okay. Special guest UI. This is a really cool one. And it's going to be cool for revenue, also cool for marketing. Create a new label. Growth. Let's do orange. Important for growth. So this is where we have create a, and I said, I'll do this week. And it's something I want to do this week. I don't know if I'll be able to get to it fast. I might be able to. A simple UI where we name a player. This is cool. Create a simple UI where we name a player, upload a player graphic, taunts, sayings, spotlight. So we can do all this already with, you saw the player definition that was in Hood Wars here. So if I go here, then go to here, then go to here, and add a player here. First, it picks a picture, but then you define all this stuff, and then upload a spotlight image. So I want to break this piece off into a, what did I call it? Special guest UI. Call it influencer persona. Call it persona. Persona is what we'll stick with. That's where we upload Elon Musk, where we upload Mark Zuckerberg, Trump, etc., and have these different images for them. Upload one or more multiple player graphics, spotlight images, and maybe even audio sayings, audio clips that we create. Now it's going to follow the laws of parody for US, but that's where we add cool people into the games, and then you can tag them people and say, "Look, you were in this match. You know, you were fighting Haley Elon. You were fighting whatever." So that's something really cool we can do with that. I'm looking forward to that. That would be cool. That's also great for marketing. You know, it's all the cool stuff here. Yeah. So this is something I'd love to do, and I'd love to do it pretty quickly. We need the tables for it too. We need data tables, and that way we could do. Give me all the persona. Show them through. Oh, labels, tags, labels. So if we wanted to create a battle and do a video of it, or invite everybody to it, like, hey guys, we're going to do all the Republicans today, or all the Democrats today, or whatever. You see where I'm going with that? It's like you could do something a lot of very fun for that, and add them into random battles, and maybe an entitlement system. That would be awesome. So that's something that'd be really cool for you guys to be able to do as well. Persona UI. So I'm actually going to keep that here, and I'm actually going to put it into release. I want to put this into release, but it is a stretch goal. This one's got a lot of tags on it. A lot of tags. A lot of tags. I can't wait to do that. That is going to be an awesome system. Spam in chat for a special guest. Okay, this was related. This was related to the persona, to the persona deal. Can I connect them? Add attachments. Oh, I can create my own fields. I could attach this. So we'll do this here. Add attachments, spam, and tap for special guest. Yes. This is a cool system. So this is where if people want to request somebody, and it's an unintended match, or I'm there or not, right? They could basically vote. It's like, who do we want to invite to this battle? And if they spam in chat the name of them, or we can vote. Let people, then you can invite Trump or Elon or whatever, or one of the many different crypto personalities. That's why it'd be really exciting to do this for specific chains too, because people have like a healthy, let's call it a healthy relationship with their different personalities on different chains. You know, people in Solana, people in Sui, like a Denny and Costas from Sui, and lots of other people, Death, Illumi. It'd be really cool to be able to invite them into a battle as their persona that we create, their characters, their persona. That would be really neat. And then they show up inside the battle. It'd be neat for them to show up as a boss too. Let people invite a persona by typing their name in chat and voting. And possibly as a boss. A boss So right now you have to join the beginning of the match, right? You can type join in the middle of the match and you'll be added to the next one. But in this case, we want to sometimes be able to spawn people like in the middle of a match. Like it's not fair if you spawn in and everybody's already half dead, right? Because you're like, okay, you're like, I'm fresh, whatever. Um, but maybe there is a place to do that, and you could spawn in at half health. But if you spawn in as like a boss, it's like, okay, there's stuff you can do there. It's like maybe the match switches to like boss mode. Food drops everywhere. Let's go make a card for this. Food drops everywhere. You get like 15 seconds head start. You can run around, grab some food, heal up, whatever. Maybe all your heals get refreshed, and then a boss comes. So you're not guaranteed to be full health or full ability or whatever. So there's some strategy there, right? But then the boss pops up, and like his icon is much bigger, and it's one of the special persona or one of the special lore bosses from Soul Wars. Because we have a story mode that will be coming up with. I only have a few pieces of what I want to do there, but I'll be working with KT to come up with some stuff like that, and the community as well to come up with some lore for the battles. Boss mode. Boss mode is going to be alert that boss is coming in. So intermission screen. Boss is coming. Food drops or not. And like when it happens, conditions, time or players left. I already have the stuff for intermissions, by the way. You can define how many seconds are left or how many players are left. Players left. And I should do percent. Number or percent. And then a boss comes in. And then what happens? Well, what are the win conditions? Do you everybody have to kill the boss? Is it boss versus everybody? Probably boss versus everybody right now. And then who will win? And what do you get when you win? All those kind of things. Rewards. Okay. Boss mode. And that I'm gonna label it. That's something that's really cool and will be good for growth. All right. I'm happy with that. Then we could say boss battle at whatever. And as the creator who's running that stream, I could just like make that happen. That'd be really cool. I don't think we'll be able to get in for release. That'd be really great if we could. I'm going to put it down as a stretch just in case I'm looking for other stuff to do. That's one awkward thing about having this many ideas, right? It's like, what has to be done? I already probably have some things in here that I don't really need to get done, like Persona UI, but it's going to be cool when we do. Spam in chat for a special guest. This is being done later on. I'll just drop it anyway. Disable unused game modes. That's a bug. Definitely going to be up next. Clean up launch flow. I consider it not a bug, but that's part of polish. Tie token CA to user. Token escrow send clean UI system. This is definitely essential. It's also good for revenue. I thought I had a revenue one in here. I did. What happened to it? What happened to revenue? Revenue. It's right there. Go more labels. Oh, I see. Because when people can spend their token, they also will want to buy more tokens. That's good for. It's good for revenue. Probably also good for growth as well. Yeah. Okay. By the way, I think that also factors in for gas because if I'm doing lots of transactions, that costs Solana. which is fine when you have 5 or 10 players, but when you have thousands of players, like that adds up. All right, so this is my up next list. Oh, geez, I have a lot of other stuff here. Did I go through all this yet? No, I did not. Choose number of combatants. Yes. Intro screen for Battlefield. Yeah. Placeholder. All right, I did go through a lot of these. In-app purchase. It's on a separate list already. Maybe that's something that we want to be able to hook up to chat. So if you do have a token in your account, you can do that. Buy heal. Buy strength. Buy rage. Stuff like that. Again, this is something the website will be good for if you take the time and going to stores and clicking on things, whatever. But if you're in the middle of a match and a battlefield is up and like there's stuff going on, and you might say, I want to buy another healing potion right now, and you have token in your account, buy heal should move that without causing a transaction for you. So you basically want to load up some of your token into your account. We can use that, by the way, with different tokens through a technology called ICA on Sui, because basically through that system we can create D wallets, which are dynamic wallets or derivative wallets. I don't know what the D stands for. So that you basically control them all from your one wallet, but you can have chain wallets on different chains that are all controlled. Kind of the same way that Phantom has different addresses in Phantom for different chains, but much more expensive, because when you create a D wallet, you can also assign that. You can send it around to people. You can give people access to it for certain times or certain percentages or whatever. But being able to in-app purchase from chat, it definitely is a cool feature. That is good for growth. It's going to be good for revenue. I hate that this is down here now. That's okay. It's just the way it is. I love this idea, and I'm going to want to do it when we do the store stuff. But it could be a fast one too. So anyway, going to this other up next list. Themes to use food data, not hard-coded. Okay, I don't have food. We don't have food in the theme editor. We need that. But that's something that if I enable top to do, theme editor. You can do that. Add random delay for attack. Yes. Visual indicators of powers of opponents. Yes, but it's not on the list right now. Use Sol NS for names. That's a cool feature where we basically pull out your NS. Like I think I have one called Davy in mine, but some people might have many. And you're going to want to edit it anyway. Let's just ask, how hard is this to do? Starting chat. If I am using Solana to let users connect to my website, how can I get their Solana NS name or Phantom wallet name? I don't even know if I can do that, if they have an API for that. I know you can on Sui. On Sui, you can buy lots of different NS tokens, but which one is your main one? I think different chains handle this in different ways, but I just want to know how difficult this is to do, because right now it's just an idea. Let's see how it thinks. Okay, so I do have a quick node endpoint for this. I do have that. Get the user's public key, get programmer accounts, find resolve domain names, decode the name. Perform a reverse lookup. Okay, so that's something we can definitely do when people first connect their Phantom wallet. Usage after wallet connection. User sol domains. So they'd have multiple, possibly. And there should be one for primary. Get primary domain. If this does work, and it's not always accurate. But good to know. Good to know. Where did I put that? Okay, that's just make my life a little bit easier, so I have to go later. Scale game full screen. That's probably part of polish. It doesn't quite work, and I'll show you why. If I hit F11 here, this changed the horizontal and vertical display of it. When we are doing streams, we also often want to do that. But right now, the game window that we see hasn't been too good at all at expanding vertically. It's been expanding horizontally okay, but vertically has been troublesome. That's one of those things that's going to take me like a day to like tinker with. So I'm going to pop that into. It's also not something I have to have. The game does work. We can see it. So I will put it in the backlog, and this I'll mark as cool. Something that's cool. Something that's good to talk about. Cool things are good things you could talk about. By the way, one of the cool things that we do is blah, 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 blah. Second screen website. I know that we have that here. So actually, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to put it in. It wasn't really shipped. So I'm going to archive it. Track spammers. This is people who just write a bot to put the word play in all the time or heal or whatever. That's a spammer. That's going to be critical for scale. Detect spammers and ban them at the chat relay level. That's what that means. Because we'll tell you what, as soon as we have a prize pool where you can battle and battle over the course of a week to earn a big prize at the end of the week, we're going to get spammers. People who think they're brilliant and have gone to like a month of university in India or whatever, or in the US, okay, and write some stupid spam thing to spam a chat. Like right now, people spam the chats all the time because they're extractors and they want to find easy ways to extract value, to extract money out at the expense of everybody else, including everybody who's going to pay for all the infrastructure. Spam, chat spam, it just costs money. It's a scumbag thing to do. But the way we'll handle that is we're going to watch for people who are spamming, who seem to be present more often than they should be. Yeah, and just basically ban them at the wallet level and at the behavior level. And we'll just set thresholds. Like we'll ban you pretty fast, actually. So I'm just going to make a few notes. So at the chat relay level, ban wallets. No big deal to them. They'll just make new wallets. No big deal for me. I'll make a new wallet. Okay, but when you do that, guess what's going to happen? We'll find you again, and there'll be a minimum threshold that you will have had to have entered in order to be considered participatory for a main prize pool. You won't get past it. So it's going to be aggravating to other people inside the chat. And even if I set a minimum like token requirement, which I don't want to do. I want people to be able to play without doing this. In order to be able to win something, you have to have certain requirements. You can't make everybody KYC either, so that's just something that we're definitely going to have to do. I'm going to leave it on the up next because it's going to happen. It's going to happen pretty soon. So I'm going to take it off of release, but it's going to be something we're going to have to do pretty quick. We'll get hit, show custom color. That's player customization. That's going to be a cool thing. So we're just going to mark it there, but it's not important for launch. This is nice. I'm getting rid of tasks on my to-do list. This can be a lot to look at. Add random delay, join codes and custom. That I already kind of have handled in another feature. What is this? Helping randomize selections. For example, I have a community. Choose between 5 and 10 wallets. Yeah. This is a cool game mode. Custom jackpot functionality. Not something we'll have for launch, but this is somebody who wants to choose some wallets, throw some money at them, and just run a battle, and it decides who gets what. Everybody stays in the battle till the end, and however you rank on the list, you'll get part of the custom jackpots. That's a really cool thing to be able to do. You know, called prize distribution, basically rewards distribution. It's like I'm going to reward 10 holders right now, the first 10 people to join, and we're going to send this jackpot, you know, this prize pool that way. So definitely a cool feature to have, not important for release. But it will be important for, I don't know if it's going to be important for revenue. It's just cool. And it's something we want to do for support for streamers. This is a big one. I'm just going to pop it here. Extend auto join credits with custom purchase. Also another cool thing we can do, also probably good for revenue. Right now, you have to type play every 3 rounds or so to be joined in again, or have typed a command at all to be able to be in the next battle as a combatant. For people who purchase an extension for that, we should let them purchase an extension for that, so they have some skin in the game, right? So if somebody does that and they won't be like, I want to make sure that I'm in the next 100 battles or whatever, they can go ahead and get credits for that. Otherwise, it's random selection. Use battle IDs and use a battle table. I think I have that already. Yes, I have it here. That's a duplicate. Do I have a note here? Who match type customizations prize tools? I'm doing this today anyway. Promo graphics for custom themes. That's going to come down to the store stuff. So let's add it here. Shop items. Shop active. Add promo. There we go. Okay, so I no longer need to have it here. I can put it in the backlog. Squads. Use command to deploy troops. I can't wait for this. This is going to be cool. This is going to be for the castle. This is going to be great for a lot of different reasons, but can't do it right now. So this is when you have, we'll do squad-based combat or even attack the castle based. Like this is like the Clash of Clans style game mode to deploy your squads. Build a squad on the website, add different troops in types, and then deploy them with the chat commands. Go heavy, go soldier, not solder, soldier. So that's a game mode, but not for launch. Disable unused game modes, clean up launch flow. Okay. All right, so basically we have our release list. And I'll put release 1. Things we want to work on, and then stuff I'm going to do today. Phew. All right. That was a great hour and a half or so. I don't know how long we've been doing this, but it was a great hour and a half or so. and made a lot of progress. So October 24th is launch day, and got our whole list. Is there a way I can print, export, share? Nope. Oops. Share. Filter, automation, power ups. Oh, that's cool. Share. Share this board with the link. Create link. What happens if I type this link? Let's find out. Copy link. So if I go to incognito and go here, oh, it makes people log in. Anyone with a link can join as a member. I'd have to upgrade it. I don't want to do that right now. All right, so all we can do really is zoom out. My eyes are starting to close by themselves. Dipped. All right, I'm gonna take a screenshot. That's all I can do. What's this? Planner? Oh, I see. I'll do that after. Not today. Not today. So I did take a screenshot. I will go ahead and put that screenshot up on the Twitters so people can get some good visibility into what's going down. Cronus, you can't come look at my stuff. I forbid you from I forbid you. This dude Kronos was funny. He was saying stuff like, "I'll wait for it to get to 20K and then buy." And it's like, "No, you can't. You're forbidden." And oh, there's my live. Oh, that's right. That's my live. I forgot that I went live on X with that. Okay. Um. Meow meow. So this is part of building in public. I'm going to be pretty transparent about what needs to get done. Um, during this, okay. This isn't really milestones. Milestones is a higher level thing, but it does approach milestones. Launch day tasks are set and categorized. What am I all capping that? Launch day tasks are set and characterized. Looks like October 24th is a go for a launch. But in order for that to happen, I've got to stay away from headaches. The migraines have been bad, and stay healthy. Don't get sick. Usually, if you're working hard, if I'm not sleeping enough, at some point in time, I'm going to get hit with a cold or something. It's that time of the year, pretty much, which might take me out for a couple days, which is gonna, um, you know, screw over my launch plan a little bit. I guess that's why it's good that I have some stress tests in here because I can miss a few of these. I'll be sad. These are all things I really want in the game. And there's a whole bunch of other things that people have had for ideas uh, that are really cool. So much good stuff is in here. So much good stuff. Um, and there's other stuff I have to do also that's not part of this, like some marketing stuff, some videos, hopefully meeting with some collabs, investors, theme stuff, working on Hood Wars also for their themes. And, you know, is it go for launch? Is a target, let's call it a target launch date. That's fair, right? I mean, yeah, that's a good target. Um, we'll view it and drop it into the chat. Share, copy link, and pop it into the chat. Let's see. Looks like October 24th will be finished with essentials and a little room for stretch. I'd love to have more Sui wallet support in. I think that's working, but I want to be able to have some Sui token support in there so people can make prize pools out of Sui token and Sui memes and NFTs, all that kind of stuff. We have NFTs already. Okay, that is going to conclude this morning's stream. I didn't get to player progression yet, but I'll show you real quick what the plan was. So let me just close off some other stuff. And you stink, you can't go there. Oh, I wonder if when I'm streaming locally, which I am right now through OBS, if that's what stops my local server connecting. No, there's some other things. So I'll zoom this in a little bit. And I have to make some changes to it already. So one of the MMOs that I played early, not in life, I was already like probably in my 20s when it came out, was called Asheron's Call. Crazy fun MMO. I love their stat system for it. It was really exciting. You basically earned XP by doing stuff, and every time you earned XP, you could add it to your basic attributes, which were like strength and health, all that kind of stuff. You had some points you could assign when you first created your character as well, but then as you expanded, you could put in your attributes, and you had a whole bunch of skills too, like sword, two-handed sword, run, jump, different schools of magic, all these different skills you had, which were based on your attributes. So mathematically, you get your attributes, then you could calculate what your skill would be, and that would so as you increase your base attributes, your skills would also increase, but you could put in your XP into your attributes, and you can put your XP into your skills as well. So not only will they like go up by themselves as you earn XP, but as you increase the base ones, the other ones would get bigger too. Very cool system. It was very skill based as well. I loved it. I really loved that. It really gave you a lot of atomic control of your guy, make lots of different kind of builds. I've never found anything that's been quite as good. I mean, the skill trees that like World of Warcraft has and stuff like that. They're very interesting. They serve a lot of people very well. You have to have this level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, all those different skills that you need to learn, and they have this giant library of things you need to learn. And the downside of that is that it loses its simplicity. But it becomes simple as well because you have the same like basic things that you can do, but just a lot more of them. I don't like the skill tree system as much as a skill based system. For a game like this, where you don't have atomic control over your actions as much as you would have, I think that this kind of a system where it's very math based does make sense. That way you can set up your hero, or your soul warrior. I think that the community voted, and that's what we're going to call them, is the soul warriors. You can set him up and set him on his journey, the hero's journey, if you will. And then as he progresses, you'll be able to go in and be like, okay, I know he's been running all out there battling all night. I'm going to check in and see how my guy's doing. Oh, look, like he's earned this much XP. I'm going to go ahead and assign it to these different stats. I'm going to change his strategy up a little bit. Maybe I'll pick up a couple potions. Oh, looks like he picked up some tokens and some potions last night. Let's go ahead and make sure he can use those. Just simple stuff like that. So you kind of check in on your guy, set them up, level them up. You have control over that, and change the strategy around. Be like, I now want him to be more defensive so that he doesn't die as easy, or I want him to look for loot more. And you have these sliders where you basically can adjust um, his priorities, right? Because in an attack situation, you can be more aggressive or you can be more defensive. If you're more aggressive, you're going to attack more often, try and hit harder at the expense of your defense. Obviously, a balanced like in the middle, you're going to be attack and defense. But you might want to be one way or the other, depending on your items. We don't have armor yet, but if you had armor, like you'd be like, okay, I've got pretty good armor. I'm going to be a cannon. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. You can slide things up, and so attack, defense, run to the middle or stay near the edge. That'll be another slider. Prioritize looking for food. Prioritize looking for loot, or right in the middle. Okay, a few basic priorities, and you'll be able to adjust them to slide them back and forth. And that those will be like your overarching uh, priorities for your guy, whether you're controlling him or not. Now, when you do control your character, like you see him on the screen, you've joined in chat, the game knows, okay, he's there, like he has control. You still have the priorities in place, but you will do temporary overrides. Okay. So then when you say heal, if you've got a healing potion or healing ability, he will try and use it at his earliest convenience, according to the game. If you say attack, even if he was in defensive mode, like he'll look for the nearest player and run towards him to attack. So you'll have these temporary overrides that will last. I think right now it was lasting 10 seconds, but I think I want to extend that a bit. Otherwise, because it should be, I'm going to change priority for this match, is what it should be. And then in the next match, it will revert back to the defined priorities that are on the database. The bottom line is this: I want you to be able to create a warrior that fights for you 24 hours a day. He may not be chosen for every battle, but if you think of the pool of warriors that people will create, first they came from token holders for the Soul Wars token holders. Then they'll come from people who are creating accounts on the site. So it'll be a large pool of warriors that can show up in battles. And those battles will be on our stream and in other streamers' streams that are running the game. So if they say, I want a battle with 1,000 players in it, chances are pretty good that if there are 500 total players, you're going to get picked, you know? So anytime that a game calls for a random battler, it's going to reach out, yo, let me get one. And if you have an override in there that says like, hey, I want to be in a lot of battles, prefer me because you've bought extra tokens to join into matches or whatever, then you'll get prioritized. But normally it'll be random, okay? And you'll have a way to influence that randomness. And then again, if you're there directly in front of the screen or watching it and want to join in, that's obviously going to give you prioritization as well. So yeah, we want to be able to have your dude battle in 24 hours a day, where you set up his journey, you influence his journey, you customize him, you level him up, you set his stats up, whatever. So everybody's going to get one soul warrior. They won't necessarily all be warriors. Sometimes they'll be ranged attack, ranged type characters or mages. We'll have a few different kind of ability preferences. I don't even want to say classes, because now if we're moving towards a skill-based system, it's not really a class. It's just like, well, you have a ranged ability, and you have a sword, and you have a wand. You can do all of it, but is it a warrior? I guess you're all warriors. You're all heroes, but people want to pick the 20 votes that we had in the Telegram said Soul Warriors, so that's what we're going to stick with. I might prefer heroes. I do like heroes. I like heroes a lot, guys. I'm sorry. I like heroes, but until I actually in my next stream this afternoon, I'm going to be working on the system more. Anyway, last night I created a plan for the implementation of it. So it creates a lot of new database tables, the stats. I need to check the stats. These used Asheron's calls stats because I love that system. I might change it up a little bit because I wanted a simpler version of the system, but I also already have a heroes system. I think it's still using 6 stats, including 1 chaos stat. So I have to decide if I'm going to change this up before I implement it. So I'll be doing that kind of on my next stream, which is probably going to be today. I mean, definitely going to be today. And then the combat preferences I already have here. Oh yeah, the positioning. Do I hover near the edge or do I move towards the center? I already seen people have been using run and flee to get away and move towards the edge. Not all the battles will be a battle royale either. Battle royale really works well because it brings every match to a conclusion. They don't go on forever. Every match has a conclusion, which is great. It creates a nice cycle where you can play and play and play again. They don't take too long. But there's a sweet time in there. I don't know what that time is, if it's 5 minutes or 7 minutes. We are going to be adding a couple more screens in for character spotlighting, for instructions or whatever. They're not going to be too long, so it's not going to be like the 20 minutes of pre-show ads that you get during a movie, for example. But it might be a minute or two that's added to the total cycle. That's a good opportunity for us to advertise. Advertising brings in revenue. Revenue goes into prize pools. So we got to create room for that kind of stuff, or to show news or a new roadmap item or whatever. So we're gonna have these screens that are part of it. But again, we might be able to use a chat system where people can vote to like move ahead faster. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And they're going to create a bunch of database tables. So it came up with some designs for database tables. I need to track every battle. I do a lot of data stuff, as you know. So we need to track battle. We want to have seasons, okay? So that we're in season. We'll go from season 0 to season 1, and people will basically earn XP in battles. They'll be in seasons. You'll still have your overall like stats, whatever, but we want to be able to track things per season for leaderboard status. So if you're at the top of the leaderboard on last season, when a new season starts, or if you join in late and you're way near the bottom, well, you might have a chance to be in the top of the leaderboard, which might give you access to some more prize pools or tournaments or whatever. So we got to do seasons, and that has to come in early. So I have to build that later. That's really hard to kind of fit in if you don't do it in the beginning. A small set of skills: melee defense, missile attack, missile offense. I'm going to change that to ranged. War magic, life magic, and magic defense. I think that's good. These are based on Asheron's call names. Magic defense. They also had a really cool stat called mana conversion, which meant how efficient you are at converting the kind of magic that was in the air around you into mana that you could use to cast spells that basically let you recharge your mana faster, if you will. I don't know if I want to really get that detailed in this. I want to keep it simple, but leave enough complexity there for you to really get into stuff. So I don't know if I want to go down that, because then you have like mana refresh rates, health refresh rates, all this kind of stuff. Yes, you can do it all, but it adds a lot more calculations to the server and stuff. It would be neat to do it all, though. But does it make sense to do it if there are 1,000 players on the screen? Yeah, probably not. That's a lot of calculations to do. 1,000 times a second or whatever it is. It's a lot. Actually, I'm going to run. I'll make that decision in the next stream. But in order for people to feel personally invested into a character, sometimes you want to have that stuff in there. So they can really make educated decisions. Like, I really want to customize my guy in this way. I get it. I want to do that. If we want to take these heroes and move them into another game, which is one of the core things that I believe in, and I know KT believes in it too. That's what we're doing for Soul Seed, which is our game platform. As if you have something, an item or a hero, whatever, you should be able to take them from game to game to game. Now, Soul Wars is unique because there are already lots of types of different match types. They qualify as games, really, that require heroes or warriors. So this kind of works as its own like vertical. It's a tall vertical, but it's wide. So I don't know. And again, you might want to have multiple heroes as well, just like you have multiple characters in a WoW account. But mentally, I know that the more stuff we have here, that's more items we have to keep track of, um, but also more items that people can find, create, and or sell. Like if you have a magic ring that increases one skill, and we have, 100 skills, that's a lot of different types of items you could have. People who love items and selling and buying items, that's a lot of stuff you could use. Um, and you can't really add complicated skill systems on top of basic systems later on. You either do it in the beginning or not at all. But if you're just want to be like a very casual player, that's fine. Maybe you just pay attention to your stats, and your stats or your attributes will kind of move those other skills along anyway. But these are important decisions we have to make, because if you just increase your stats, fine, you'll be well rounded, and there's nothing wrong with being well rounded. But gonna make it easier for people to do kind of like a basic and advanced, because some people are going to join into like a TikTok stream or whatever and be like, I want to do some basic customization, but I saw all these things. I was like, no, what? No, we got to be able to handle the casual players as well, who are not used to having this level of stuff. And a lot of people will be using their mobile devices to do character customizations and stuff. We don't want them to have 40 different things to scroll through unless you want to. So you got to keep this kind of like guiding principle of keep it simple, but also let it be complicated, if that makes sense. I just realized I've been ignoring chat quite a bit. But that's okay. It's a slow day in the telegrams. Let me just catch up real quick here. Yeah, slow day in the telegrams. Yeah. Okay. Attribute system and anything you do to sort of change an attribute, change it from an old one to a new one. We keep track of all that stuff in a database table so we can look for problems. Then, of course, there's all the APIs that the server will use to do all this stuff. I need to be able to record the battles, just to make sure that everybody gets XP. Then we create leaderboards for that kind of stuff, which are based on seasons, all this kind of stuff. And for me to be able to change seasons, when you change seasons, you get to do cool promos. You get those are all like levers that you can pull, that you can create new marketing campaigns around, get people excited. It's like, oh, new season is coming, new season. It's like that, just as a tried and true mechanic. Stats calculations, all this kind of stuff. That way you can simulate what your guy would look like at certain levels. We're not gonna do everything. We're gonna let some people create their own. We'll publish the rules, right? We'll publish documentation about the system, and that people come up with their own web pages to figure that stuff out if they want to. And then a place to manage some web pages where you can actually manage stuff. React components, those are different things that show up on the screen. And the more I build, the more I have to maintain. And right now it's just me on this project, so I got to be careful I don't go overboard with this stuff. So I tried to keep it simple. This is about as simple as I want to get. I mean, really simple would be, here's an attack score, here's my defense score. I could use that for everything if I wanted to be very, very, very simple. But I want people to feel personally invested into their characters, which are possibly fighting 24 hours a day. And then as they build up, it's like they move towards a massive battle towards the end of the season. You could do that kind of stuff, or a massive series of battles towards the end of the season. The strategy preferences, all this kind of stuff. This looked good. It actually created user documentation as well, which I haven't looked at yet. I'll look at it in the next stream. And then it created documentation. I asked AI to do all this stuff so that when I add more engineers, we already have a little bit of documentation for them to look at. What the formulas are, and we can put a lot of this stuff up on the website. So if we do end up making some of this open source, this stuff is here. SQL scripts so that I can do stuff in the database. Tried not to have it touch things that were already there. Oh yeah, and then some other stuff like making sure the Soul Wars token holders get different multipliers. That's a holder benefit. filler players. Yeah. Oh yeah. Correct. Calculate skills from attributes. Um, I said I wanted to hide it because I wanted to expand it later because I haven't decided. Acheron's Call used skills for every weapon type. You had a dagger, a sword. I think there was a two-handed sword, crossbow, bow, spear, like every little thing. I don't think we're going to get that crazy. I'm going to basically be like, you're a warrior. If you're good with melee weapons, you're good with all melee weapons. Will kind of be how it is. That way, when you find an item, you don't have to say, "Oh, I can't use it. It's a mace. I'm not specialized in mace. I can't use it." And then some unit tests. Unit tests are important. A lot of engineers skip unit tests. I skip them probably 70% of the time, but that's code to test your code and make sure that you have good test coverage so that you don't have a lot of stuff you've made that's not testable. And then it created a big old to-do list. So I think out of all of this stuff, and actually it did a lot of it already. Out of all the stuff that it did, I have to decide if I wanted to change the name of the attributes. We are going with Soul Warriors. That was the vote. And I got to make the final decision on that to see if it's important. I think it's probably good. And I'm going to decide if I'm going to keep these attributes and if I'm going to show the skills. I think I might want to show the skills. Also, there's a big question of, do I want people to be able to level up their guy straight out? Do I want them to be able to buy chunks of XP? I know that we're going to have things like double XP weekends, or just like in Call of Duty, how you'll earn tokens that can be like, use my more XP for the next 30 minutes, or more XP for the next hour, more of this XP for, like, we'll have that kind of stuff working. But do I want people to be able to spend Soul Wars token and like buy a bunch of XP to level up their guy? I feel like I do. Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like I want to be able to do that. What does that mean in terms of balance? Well, we might have in the matches be like, this one's for everybody. This one's for players of level. You have different windows that you might want to be able to do. Um, your guy will be battling 24 hours a day, so whether he wins or loses all the time doesn't really matter. He will, by random chance, win some, get some XP, and be able to level up over time. So whether or not you're able to be the victor or even the top 10 in general all the time doesn't really matter, because like I said, you're not going to have to grind him out. It's kind of one of the beauties of this kind of a system, is that it takes away the grinding. Your guy grinds for you like at nighttime. And that reminds me too, we also have to think about how that affects XP, because if your guy grinds 24 hours a day, if he could grind 24 hours a day, then he would get to max level pretty quickly, which would be boring. So I might have to think about that. I might have to think about that in terms of how much XP is given out over time. Because I know it took me, like, you could spend months leveling up in MMOs and stuff. If we have seasons that are out there, first of all, the numbers are going to get gigantic. People have billions and trillions of XP over time. But you don't want people getting max level too fast unless they stacked the deck in their favor. Um, so yeah, what we'll have to do is we'll have to simulate that. So I'm going to put that as an action item. Simulate. That's today. Simulate XP match max. So what we might have to do is have a XP factor.
and be able to adjust that, being like, we're giving out too much XP, dial it down a bit or raise it up a bit, and be able to just change that at any time. I'm actually going to put that in. I will have that XP factor. And we'll put into the plan as well. I'll say keep. We need to add in a XP factor. Add in a global. All right, this is a whole system. I can't just type this one out. So XP factor system. That XP factor system is going to be for global XP and user specific. What else is there? Decide if things stack. Like if I get 25% XP, can I stack it with another 25% XP? Probably not. You could probably have one active at a time. But what might happen is that somebody might want to be like, hey, I want to buy 50% XP for all Hood Wars token holders for the next 5 hours or something like that. How could we let somebody do that? That's the kind of a system that I'm thinking of, because I want to be able to do that. I want you to be able to factor in your individual XP. I need to have a global factor where we can raise or lower it, and then I want somebody to be able to get that for you, your community leader, if you're in a team or a guild, like that kind of thing. And then and when you're about to earn XP, it should be able to go out and say what are their individual bonuses, what are their guild bonuses, all that. Do they stack? Do they kind of stack a little bit? Like if you're getting 25% bonus from 3 different things, is that 75%, or is it 25 plus a smaller percentage of that plus a smaller percentage of that? That way you don't get like 1,000% XP by accident. Um, anyway, these are things we kind of think about and like do some math. One of the problems I ran into, because I had an XP system for NFTs, and people gained levels on that, is that and people could get XP from lots of different things. They could get XP from being in Twitter Spaces, from doing posts, reposts, playing different games that all plugged into my XP system that we owned, called NFT Scribe. It was KT and I, mostly KT and I, and people, different things, social games, whatever, would feed into the XP system for a user, and if they had a particular NFT they were playing with, that NFT would level up. Certain people played some games. I'm in a Discord game called Conquest that some people played a lot of, and they had different items that gave them more XP, NFTs that they bought that gave them more XP, and they did everything that they could do to get more XP. They put a lot of work into it, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of work. I'm looking at you, John, Dr. John. If you ever see this video, absolute legend. Really, really, really good at this game. I mean, called Conquest. You had lots of different buffs, lots of different skills, lots of different items. He bought a ton of things. He became a boss monster also, and he was getting XP for that. He was getting XP from owning lands. He basically had an XP empire. So the type of number that I used to store people's XP in the database was an integer, which takes a massive amount, 32 billion or something, whatever it was. And he hit the limit of that and crashed the whole system, not on purpose, but he gained so much XP and so many credits. So he also had credits rolling in left and right, left and right, left and right. So I actually had to change the number type to a big int, which handles like a much, much larger number. But that there were so many millions of records, and I think we had 20,000 users, hundreds of thousands of NFTs. That basically, like, making that one change, I had to do like a few changes to the database that took hours to run, and it was very risky. So I got to plan for that ahead of time. The Dr. John factor. You never know. Anyway, that'll be player progression, and we'll do that on the next stream. It's about noon. I'm going to take a break, and probably be able to go for a couple more hours before I head out for afternoon school pickups and stuff like that. So thanks for joining, guys.